cousin's weird.
And it's my week for terrible trends.
So you know it's gonna be terrible.
Yes, but nobody's eating people in this one. It's not about that. It is a medical trend though, so it's not great.
No, I do fashion trends that are horrible, but they're not gross. Margaret likes. She's like, how can I traumatize Colleen for the next week?
Yes.
Give her nightmares. Let's see.
Okay, so we're going back to 4th century BCE.
Okay.
Hippocrates. Hippocrates or Hippocrates, if anybody's watched Bill and Ted.
Hippocrates.
Call them Hippocrates. Or Socrates. The Socrates.
Oh, yeah.
Hippocrates, the same thing. Hippocrates, I can't say it now. Like, known as the father of medicine, the Hippocratic Oath, all of that came from Hippocrates.
Hippocrates.
Hippocrates. One of the things he's quoted is written as him saying, oops, sorry.
You need to get closer to that microphone. There we go.
Sorry. As many conditions as drugs do not cure, the knife cures.
No.
As many as a knife does not cure, fire cures.
No!
As many as fire does not cure, these have to be considered incurable.
He's saying, if you can't get it with medicine, just slice them open. You just light them on fire.
It's not necessarily light them on fire, but using heat.
No.
We're talking about cautery or cauterization.
You got this out of quackery, didn't you?
I did.
Oh, I didn't read that one.
Yes. And we're going to go about something what they term as actual cautery, which is using heat to sear something
Which there's a time and a place for it.
Yes.
But I'm sure these are not.
No. Cauterization was the burning or branding with a hot iron. Heating lances, cauterizing knives. These are all names of ways to cauterize. These would be heated over fire and applied to the area of affliction. I mean, cauterizing things that are bleeding can save your life.
Right.
Or help you die quicker. Depending on how it's done.
What you trying to do? What are you trying to do? You're trying to die? You're trying to live? I don't know.
Hippocrates' treatment of hemorrhoids was the following.
No!
When the cautery is applied to the patient, the patient's head and hands should be held so that he should cry out.
No!
This will make the rectum project out.
No! Margaret, no!
Yes, and then they would take a hot branding iron and
right
on the hemorrhoids. And it made him go away. And afterward, a poultice should be applied.
I would hope so.
Of lentils and vegetables to the anus.
What?
Yes.
They put pea soup on your butt?
Lentil soup.
Oh, lentil soup on your butt afterwards?
Yes.
That's not helpful.
No. Like lentils and vegetables.
That's not good. There's bacteria.
Yeah.
Bad.
On your butt.
Now, if you hear giggling in the background, that's my niece Sydney. She's over here in the chair, like being traumatized with me, so I'm not alone in this traumatizing.
We're going to go ahead a little bit to the 1st century, Common Era, CE. Celsus.
Oh, no,
not
one.
This is
not
Celsus.
Paracelsus.
Right. He wrote, all afflictions, when inveterate, scarce admit a cure without cauterization. Basically saying anything can be cured with cauterization.
No, that's not true.
Headaches. If you have a headache, a red-hot, long iron rod was placed against your temple.
What? I'm sweaty. You don't want
And it would make a black
Well,
mark.
I can say that if I had a headache and you burnt me, I wouldn't notice my headache anymore, so I suppose he's right.
If you had a cough,
oh, God,
a cautery rod would be applied under the chin, on the neck, on both breasts, and below the shoulder blades, because that'll stop your cough.
What? Let's just cause more infection in your body and pain.
Also, a treatment for epilepsy and apoplexy.
No.
Oh, it can also be used to stop bleeding, too, because
Well, I mean, that's the only one that it should be used for.
Right. Counter irritation is like for headache.
Right.
This is what they would call it, counter irritation. So, they also called it firing instead of cautery. They'd say you use firing as a counter irritation.
I don't know anyone else in the world, but I sure do know that I'd rather have a headache than the pain of burning.
Exactly. In 1885, this is written in a medical journal at the time, a woman was treated for malaise. She was just down, and she's basically probably depressed.
She's probably just had a baby too. I bet.
She couldn't go to work because she just felt so bad, and she didn't want to get up, and she was really like just stuck in her bed. And so how they cured her of her malaise is they branded her along her spine, and it cured her because she went back to work.
Because she's like, I don't want that done again.
I'm like, okay, if I feel like crap and I'm in bed, they're going to shove a hot poker on my back. I'm going to work.
Yes. Like, get me out of here.
In 1875, Dr. Charles Edward Brown Siguard, what a name, he used this branding method to wake up coma patients. He said if somebody's in a coma, you brand them with a hot iron, and it didn't work.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's a surprise. Yeah.
Melancholy, this is things that they used to treat. Like, these are the firing counter irritation things. Some of the things that they would use, they would treat, these are some of the things they would treat with this. Melancholy, headache, sunstroke, paralysis, and werewolfism. Seriously, werewolfism. Better not be a werewolf, or I will brand you with a hot poker.
When did they? I want to know how they decided when someone was a werewolf.
They had eyebrows that met in the middle.
Oh yes, yeah, unibrows.
Unibrow is werewolfism. Yes. This treatment actually caused more infection.
Oh, surprise, surprise.
And sepsis due to creating an optimal environment for bacteria to grow on your body. So, and even like when you would cauterize a wound that was bleeding, there was a timing to it. Like, you had to have the rod at a certain temperature. If you left it on for too long and you removed it, it might take the flesh you just seared with it and create more bleeding. Right. So, and like, even after, there was a doctor who discovered that tying off the veins was better. And had people live longer with that. The people still refused to do it, and they would still cauterize. And a lot of that was in wartime, like the Civil War and World War I and World War II, where there's so many people wounded, you didn't really have you had to amputate limbs, and they would just use something hot because it was there.
Which makes sense.
Because they didn't want them to bleed to death, because they didn't have time to treat everybody in the optimal way.
I mean, that makes sense. And in those conditions where you have to treat lots of people and you have to do it quickly, perfectly acceptable. That's when you should do it.
And this doctor,
but not for a hemorrhoid.
I forgot to write his name down. I don't remember what it was.
That's all right.
He also had a bunch of people he was treating. They all had gunshot wounds. It was during one of the French wars. Right. And he only had enough. They would cauterize it, and then they would use some kind of berry syrup stuff on it afterwards. And he only had enough to do half the people. So half the people had wounds cauterized, their gunshot wounds cauterized, and this berry stuff put on them. And he was so afraid when he went to bed at night that he was going to wake up and all the people he didn't get to were all going to be dead. And he felt a lot of guilt about it. Right. But when he woke up, he realized the men he didn't treat were faring better than the men that he did treat it, because all their wounds were festering. Ugh. The ones that were cauterized. So he's like, maybe this isn't the best thing to do. And we have him to thank for, like...
Thank you.
Yes. Figuring different
out that you don't put fruit jam on. There's some jam. Put it on your boo-boo. It'll be fine.
It might have been some kind of wine. It might have been some kind of like fruit.
Well, alcohol would help if it was really high alcohol, but not grapes.
Let's like pour something sweet in your open festering wound and see if it makes it better.
Sense.
Maybe it'll make maggots come and they'll actually clean it.
Well, that'd be better than what they were doing.
They do that still.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to. You know, Margaret, do you remember back when we were younger and we were hanging out at a friend's house, and there could have been drinks involved.
Usually there were.
And one of our friends told the other friend, I'm not going to name names and call people out on our podcast, but one of our friends was like, you should take that you should take that cross and we should brand it on you.
Oh, God, yes.
And he sounded like a good idea to him. Oh, yeah, we should do that. Let's brand this to me. And some of us said, that's not the type of metal you're going to heat up. That's a cheap metal. You don't want to heat that up. So what they did was they heated up this necklace that was made out of
cheap necklace that cost about $10.
Yeah, cheap necklace. They heated it up, and when they put it on him, it melted. The metal melted to him.
Didn't they take a glass and press it on him?
Yeah.
And they held it there.
And he was being branded, and we were like, don't do that. That's not a good idea. Yes. Voices of reason. No one listened.
Nope. And they didn't just like touch it, because that's what you're supposed to do.
No.
This was like a press and hold type of situation.
And then it melted to his skin. And when they took it off him, obviously his skin went with it. And it wasn't a cross, it's a blob. Because the metal formed. It was the most ridiculous thing that's ever happened. And horrifying.
Disgusting.
And I'm surprised he didn't die of sepsis. Because it was bad.
It was the smell.
The smell, I'll never forget the smell. It was terrible. So don't brand yourself at home.
No.
It's not a good idea.
It's not.
Don't cauterize yourself. Don't put jam on wounds.
If you have a headache, don't use a hot poker on your temple.
Hemorrhoids?
Your flesh.
They sell things now for hemorrhoids. So use that.
Not a hot poker.
Not a hot poker. That's a bad idea.
Someone hold you down on a table and shove a hot poker in your butt.
I'll keep the hemorrhoid. The hemorrhoid sounds good to me. I'm like, I'll keep it. You know, I'll just walk around with a donut to sit on. It'll be fine.
How bad would it have to be for somebody to say, yeah, I think I'll take the hot poker?
Yes.
No,
Never. I can't. Nothing can be as bad as the pain of a burn to me.
It's the worst.
Like, if I have a cold, I'll deal with the cold.
I'm an esthetician, for those that don't know. And I have a hot cabbie that gets really hot. And I was doing a thing, and I burnt my hand on the hot cabbie.
Oh, wow.
That's how hot it is.
I one time burnt my hand
I do it all the time. So I have, I know that it's hot, and I know not to touch the sides of it, but when you're in a hurry.
Right.
And it makes a sound.
Ew. When I worked at a pizzeria when I was 16, I was lifting something out of the pizza oven.
16-year-olds should always be around hot things.
I know. I had a sub in there. It was toasting the sub. Mm-hmm. And I took the paddle and I went in and I lifted up onto my arm. And it hit the top and I heard this and it was bubbling afterward. It was gross. I don't have a scar from it, surprisingly, but I remember doing that and that wasn't fun.
So thank you to modern medicine and science.
Yes, thank you for people finding the real cure. And you know the thing, it always boils and my brain can't go around it.
Every horrible trend that we've said always cures epilepsy. It's or
epilepsy
syphilis. Or syphilis, one or the other. They probably would have tried this too, but people don't want hot pokers near their private.
Well, they'll put it in their butt.
Their privy area.
Why not? They put it in their butt. What's the difference? I don't know. Yeah, it always blows my mind that when we talk about these things and why do you think that's a better than what they're dealing with? Why do you think burning someone's better than a headache or a cough? Or
I think it probably happened to somebody one time. You're like, oh, I have this cough. Okay.
And they stop coughing.
I'm never.
I just hold my breath.
I'm good.
I don't want to cough.
I have hemorrhoids. Here, we'll hold you down.
Wow, I'm cured.
They didn't tell them what the cure was. They just, I'll fix that.
Why did the doctor think that was a good? I guess I get the bleeding thing. Yeah, that makes sense. That works. But why did they think that was a good idea?
They were weird in their idea of how the body, because they had so many rules about autopsies, and they weren't allowed to cut up a body. It was a sacrilegious thing,
right?
So a lot of them didn't even know how the body worked. You know, or they find a dead person and they look at what does this do? You know, they don't know.
They're poking it.
What's this thing? You know, so it's they did a lot of autopsies on animals, to see how would you know that the heart beat your blood through your body unless you took an animal and cut them open when they were alive? Oh God. You know, it's what a lot of these people did.
I guess. I mean, you had to learn about things, but it's
who knows what Hippocrates did.
Hippocrates. He's a nut.
Bill and Ted, man. always like Socrates. I just so I'm reading this and I see Hippocrates and I'm like Hippocrates. And I giggled every time.
I haven't seen the new Bill and Ted. Have you seen it?
No.
I should watch it. I saw that it's on Netflix, so I'm probably.
Keanu Reeves is a national treasure.
He's in it. I love him. Now let me just talk. This has nothing to do with it, but okay. Hated The Matrix. Don't come at me. Hate The Matrix. Never liked it. I didn't like it when it came out, and I like at that moment on, I was like, I don't like that Keanu Reeves anymore. I don't like him. Hated him. And then all of a sudden, I started reading about like these wonderful things that he's done.
No, he's like a wonderful person.
He's a treasure.
He really is
precious. And I take back everything I ever thought. I was like, I mean, okay, when he was in Dracula, his accent was atrocious. I mean, we can say that, yes. Right? I mean, he's adorable, and we love him.
He kind of,
but the accent wasn't good.
He's very one-dimensional as an actor.
Yeah, and
that's okay
because he does good. But the thing is, it wasn't Keanu Reeves. It was the Matrix itself. I don't like the idea behind it because it creeps my brain out, and I didn't like the movies. I didn't like the girl with him. What's her name?
Trinity.
I don't like Trinity. I didn't like her. Didn't like anything about it because I don't like things that make your reality seem like it's not real because I have anxiety. So people with anxious brains, sometimes if you get really bad anxiety, you do this thing you derealize where you think you're not in your body anymore. Yeah. Like you feel like you're watching a movie and it's not. It's a really weird feeling, and I thankfully gotten to the point in my life where I feel it coming and I can talk myself down off it.
Yes.
But movies like that or Fight Club really mess with my head because I'm like, I know that feeling and it's not fun and I don't want to do it.
What are the movies that he was just in where he was avenging his dog's death?
John Wick.
Yes.
I had no clue when I watched John Wick that the dog died in the first scene. No one told me. Oh, did I ruin it for someone? Sorry. You need to know that though. You need to know that because it's terrible.
Yes.
And he avenges his wife too. Well, his wife dies of cancer. And her gift to him before she died was that puppy. And she dies of cancer and someone kills it. Which is terrible. Anyway, John Wick movies are really good. He actually is very good in those.
Yes. Probably
it's just The Matrix I didn't like. Which I'm probably one of the only people that don't like it.
I'll walk him on the clouds.
Oh, that's good. That is.
Now we're like all gooey over.
Okay.
All right. Stop.
All right. So, Margaret, they should save the date, shouldn't they?
Yes. AnchorCon. We're going to be there August 20th and 21st. We're going to have a live show. We're going to have a table. We're going to have all kinds of cool stuff there. You should stop by and see us. There's going to be all kinds of good stuff at the convention as well.
Yeah, so you're going to be able to see like the car from Ghostbusters and the Chalk Twins are there, which are really cool. These twins that do these chalk amazing things. And what else? I saw a bunch of things. Tons of vendors selling a lot of cool stuff, like nerddom stuff that you want to buy if you're a nerd like we are.
I'm all about the nerddom.
Me too.
It's very good.
So you should go to that. They have like D&D championships, and they have like I think Smash Brother. I think Infinite Lives is there. And they do like a retro gaming thing there. And
my husband works there, so
yeah. So you should go to it.
We should.
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
It'll be fun.
And you get to meet us.
Yeah. Which is the best part. Yeah. And then if they want to share a story with us? Or
you can send us an email at thecousinsweird@gmail.com.
And if you want to support our podcast, you can go to patreon.com/thecousinsweird. And for $1 a month, you can become a freaky friend and you get a sticker and bonus episodes. It's the best deal ever.
It really is.
And then if you really want to really go hard with it, if you do for $5 a month, you become a table trender and you get a sticker, a yearly gift, bonus episodes, ad-free episodes, and a monthly chat with us live. Just for our Patreons where we get together and we just chit chat and talk together. So that's really cool. But the best way you can support our podcast is to share on your social media. And then you want to also share word of mouth, obviously. That's good. But we're on every platform out there. So you can rate us on it. You can make sure to follow us so you never miss an episode. And follow us on Facebook and Instagram, too, because,
yeah.
you can't miss an episode then, right?
We'll tell you when we have new episodes. We'll post them. We'll post any kind of content that goes along with the episode. We post that on Facebook and on Instagram. So if we have any like terrible pictures to go along.
Yes, we always share the terrible pictures that go along with our podcast. You want to make sure, especially Margaret's.
Yes.
You want to make sure you see the horrible things that they did.
The horrible implements that they use for healing.
Yes. Yes. Healing. With quotes.
Not a lot of healing was involved.
No.
Lots of torture.
Torture, basically.
It's like, you have a migraine. Here, take this hot poker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a wrap.
That's a wrap. Stay freaky.
Bye.
Bye.